welcome to Good Grief, a podcast dedicated to demystifying and destigmatizing grief with compassion and sometimes humor. I'm Nikki. I'm an end-of-life doula and a grief coach in Columbus, Ohio. And today I have another great guest episode today. I'm very excited to talk about the boring stuff. I'm teasing. So I had an amazing conversation with Karen Tarnopol. And we talked a little bit about estate planning, which is, again, that's the kind of boring stuff, right? Nobody wants to talk about the paperwork, but I cannot tell you, I can never stress how important this stuff is. But she has her own stories of loss and her reasoning. When I meet people who do great things like she does, I want to know the why. Like, why do you do what you do? And her story behind why she does what she does is so just touching and beautiful. So I wanted her to share that story with you. So please, I'm so excited for you to listen to this episode. But before we dive in, as usual, I want to remind you that you can help support me and some pro bono work out in the community by going over to patreon.com/Nikki the Death Doula. That link is in the description. For as little as $1 a month, you can support me. If you want to give a little bit more, that would be amazing. For this season, the duration of this season, any new patrons who sign on at the $10 and above tier, I will give you a free journal. I got one right here. I've been taking notes in it, actually. It's got my little podcast. Oh, you don't get the pen, sorry. I got my little podcast logo there. And I will be sending one of those out to you as long as you provide an address to which I can send it. But with all the money I receive from Patreon, I use that to provide pro bono services. I have at least one client I've been working with off and on for quite some time, and I've just started having conversations with another person who needs some pro bono support as well. So I would love to have some funds so that I can do that. So you can do that at patreon.com/Nikki the Death Doula. But that is not why you're here. You're here to see, I do this every time, here to hear. You're here to listen to my conversation with Karen Tarnopol on the wonderful world of estate planning. All right. Thank you, everybody, so much for coming back this week. I'm super excited to have another great guest episode with me. I have a fantastic person here with me today, Miss Karen Tarnopol. I did it. I got it right, right? Did I get it right?
You did.
All right. This was take 3, everybody. So I'm super excited to have Karen here. I always feel weird saying I'm excited because we have such heavy topics. And Karen has had her own journeys with grief as well. But Karen, you know what? I'm just going to let you introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you, about your company, and where you are in the world, and some of your background with grief.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm Karen Tarnopol. Not an easy name to say, obviously.
Clearly, I messed that up a couple times.
Right. So I have a company called Heirloom Consulting, and I worked for about 15 years in the estate administration industry as a paralegal, and then also another 15 years in commercial and residential real estate. And I decided to create a company sort of addressing all the holes in the estate planning industry. So I kind of mashed the two together and handle everything in administration from A to Z. So I noticed that people would come in unprepared to their estate planning meeting with their lawyer. And then they would leave with a funding letter, and they wouldn't fund the trust. So they would have this trust, but it would be empty, like imagine a bucket. So the bucket's empty. So when you die, it's not in your trust.
Thanks for the empty bucket, Mom.
Thanks for that. Right. Or what happens all the time is that people leave a giant mess for their family.
Yeah.
And they're not organized and prepared. And so when they die, the person they elected as trustee or personal representative, some people call it executor, they have this giant treasure hunt mess to deal with. And it's, 400 to 500 hours of your life. And when you agree to be this trustee or this person, you're not thinking about the end, but we're always thinking about the end.
Yeah.
So we're always trying to prepare people in advance. And when they're not prepared and they're not willing to do that, we help them in the end. So we help them with all their tasks: selling the house, finding heirs, estate sales, clean outs, like everything, that paperwork and red tape that you got to deal with as a trustee. We do it, all that stuff.
I love that. I love that so much. And I get so many questions all the time from people I go out in the community, I talk about what I do as a death doula, I give talks, things like that. And I feel like that's the sticking point where everybody gets stuck. Like they're curious about the actual end of life work, but everybody wants to know like what paperwork do I need and what if this happens and what if that happens? I'm like, well, we can prepare as best we can, right? But things always happen. So
Yeah.
I can appreciate somebody like you who understands like, what all you need, but also when it needs to happen and try to like fill in all those little gaps so there are no, oh no, after somebody passes away.
Yeah,
So,
nobody wants to leave a burden for their family, but they're
no,
so scared of the idea of death
yeah,
that they just don't even want to talk about it. And
yeah,
so I always say, hey, we're all going to die. Let's
yeah,
just sit down and have some coffee, talk about
yeah,
what you have going. Let's get it all organized. For
yeah,
me, it's easy. I'm not connected to your paperwork.
yeah,
So let's just get it all together. And then you can rest easy that everything's set up. So when you do die, sometimes people die suddenly. My dad died at 37. Things can happen. You're
right.
ready and you can die peacefully.
Yeah,
You don't have to worry about it.
yeah, yeah, thank you. And that's you hit the nail on the head with nobody wants to burden their family. I've never met with anybody in my line of work that's like, man, I just want to make things as impossible as I can for my loved ones.
Right.
Nobody wants that because a lot of times they may have experienced it themselves with somebody they have lost and realize like what a chaotic mess it is. And it's kind of an eye opener, right?
It just feels very big to them
Yeah.
because, for instance, I was in a house yesterday and it was filled top to bottom.
Oof.
So to somebody who lives there, that's a huge undertaking. For us, not so much.
Yeah.
We have A, B, C, D. This is how we do it.
Yeah.
But for them, it's, oh my gosh, how am I ever going to start?
Yeah. And that's the hardest part. So I know a couple people here locally who do either like they help people with decluttering for downsizing, moving, or after a death has occurred, they help with, going through the estate and all the belongings. And that's like what you just said is the number one thing, the first thing I hear, I don't even know where to start. It's just too much, right?
Yeah.
So what do you usually tell somebody in that situation? Like who's just in it, realizes how much there is and is immediately overwhelmed. What would you say to them to, kind of help allay their fears?
Well, A, that we can help them. But one
Yeah.
of the first things I have people do is go around the house and put either Post-its or stickers on anything they want to keep,
Yeah.
because then you're sort of eliminating a whole section that you don't have to worry about immediately, right? Or
Yeah.
you can move it all to one area, one
Hmm.
room. And then everything else, is just going to be different subject matters, right?
Right.
Dishes, you know, laundry, like linens, those kind of things.
Hmm.
So, it's just a matter of following the steps and just
Right.
chunking it
Yeah.
out one thing at a time and not trying to do everything at once, I guess is the
Yes.
best thing. Just
Yes.
let's do this one thing, then we'll do
Hmm.
the next thing, then we'll do the next thing. And soon you'll be free of all your stuff you don't even want,
Yeah.
keep.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I was working with the daughter of somebody who passed away, and she helped clear out a lot just to move her mom into assisted living, and then her mom went to a respite center and had declared, but all the stuff just coming back to her house. So then
oh, terrible idea.
right, and then she was like, I have her stuff, and I've been trying to get rid of my stuff too, so now my house is just full of stuff. And her mom passed away. She's like, I don't even know where to start. And I told her, I'm like, you don't have to do it all right now. Like,
Yeah,
there's no timeline on this. I mean, obviously, I know I can't concentrate with clutter in front of me, but just do one box,
yeah,
one
me.
box a day or something. She's had help, so thank goodness.
So I have two clients like that right now. Their
Uh,
mother died. They brought all the stuff to their house and they've had an entire basement filled with their mother's stuff. And now they're trying to sell it.
mhm.
Neither of them have anything worth anything.
Yeah.
Nobody wants China anymore. Nobody
Nope.
wants any of that stuff anymore. And you feel like, oh, well, let's keep it. Maybe the kids will want it, those kind of things. The kids never want it.
Mm-mm.
Don't even like put that in your mind. And also, number one rule, do not get a storage unit. Do
Oh my
not
God, no.
for a storage unit. You will
Oh,
never see that stuff again.
no. No, I hate that. And that's just the pitfall with storage units is the stuff goes there and just lives forever because you're not seeing it, so you're not dealing with it. So thank you for that piece of advice.
I have one client with 7 storage units.
Oh, oh,
But
that just gave me really bad anxiety.
for 25 years,
Oh my gosh.
yeah,
Ah,
it's a horrible investment. You will
yeah.
never see it again unless you have something very extraordinary that, certain situation. I don't know
Right.
any, but there must be one
Right.
out there that makes sense.
Well, and it's so
Big business.
hard. And I experienced this with my parents because they recently downsized and moved to a condo. And when you've had things for, 70 plus years, they're your things and they're so valuable to you, but they're not valuable to anybody else. And it's hard. I admit I have some things that I'm like, I don't think I could possibly ever get rid of this for unless it was like X amount of dollars because it means a lot to me.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean
While
anything
you're
to anybody else.
the
Yeah. Yeah.
biggest thing is books. Books are so heavy.
Oh my gosh, they're the
People
worst.
are thinking they got all these bookshelves full of books. And when they die, somebody has to either donate them. It's not
Mhm.
easy to find a place to donate books. Even libraries
Yeah.
don't always want books. And so that's a very heavy thing for people.
Yeah. I moved a lot in my 20s and I love books. And I always had like two or three bookshelves full of books. And I moved those like seven times. And I finally, we have a house now. We're not going anywhere. And I was like, I'm getting rid of all my books. I got rid of all, but like I have a few authorized. I've got a bookshelf this big. It's got like
Yeah.
six books on it. And that's it. Like,
Yeah. Somebody
yeah.
else can read it now.
Yeah, the autographed ones are, yeah, whatever. Anyway, getting in the weeds. So I have a million and one questions to ask, but I want to know what made you decide to do this line of like what brought you to this line of work? Was it a personal experience, just noticing the gaps in care? Like what brought you here?
It's kind of a combination. Like I said, my dad died young. My mom was unprepared with three kids. And
Oof.
so I think that was the beginning of my journey. I don't think I really realized that until I was older.
Hmm.
And then I had a daughter who was stillborn in my 30s. And so I went through the grieving process of thinking I was becoming a mom, quit my job, the whole thing. I couldn't function for a year. So I really firsthand saw what a person feels like when they're grieving. Like
Yeah.
you can't focus to try
Hmm.
to take on a second job, plus your current job, taking care of your family, all the different things that come with your life just naturally. And then you're going to add this whole other job while you're grieving and foggy and just so sad about the person you left, who you lost. And so that in combination with the holes that I saw in
Yeah.
working in this industry, my life was so jagged,
Yeah.
the jobs I had and the kind of the path I took. And people would say to me, "Oh, you quit a lot of things." And I'm like, "I know, but it just felt like the right thing at the time." And then I had things like working for Washington Mutual Bank, and they just closed overnight. The whole industry went away.
Oh.
So life was just always sort of steering me in this weird, weird way.
Hmm.
But then somehow it all kind of came together.
Yeah.
It was so strange. Like I wrote a business plan like 4 years ago before I even anywhere near started this business.
Hmm.
And I don't know, it just kind of came to me one day and it made so much sense to take all that and mush it together.
Yeah.
So, and now
Yeah.
my two sons work with me and it's family business.
Oh.
So,
I love that. I love it when families are able to work together. And
well, there's that.
right. Because there's always yeah, we have the family business, but the kids don't want anything to do with it. But when families can work together and they
Yeah.
can at least understand a lot of this stuff while they're still relatively young, right?
Yeah.
How to prepare themselves. So,
Yeah.
um, what in your experience is the most critical, well, I don't want to say critical. What in your opinion and or your experience would be the most important thing to have in place before your end of life?
I would say make sure all of your assets. So let me just say this. So I created a document
Hmm.
that's 16 pages that addresses everything.
I love
Your,
it.
all your account numbers, who are your contacts, your attorney, your CPA, your insurance, who are your beneficiaries, what are your account numbers, what are your accounts? Because the thing is people don't know you have these accounts. Only you
Yeah.
know you have these accounts,
Yeah.
right? So unless you are completely transparent with your family and you say, this is what I have, this is what you'll need to look for when I die.
Hmm.
Sometimes they can't even find your estate plan documents or they don't know who your attorney is. So if you're not organized and you don't have everything in order where somebody can find it easily,
Hmm.
they may never get your money. It may just be lost.
Yeah.
And then there's like this unclaimed property, with the states.
Yeah.
There's all this money out there and they may never know about it because
Yeah.
you didn't give them any breadcrumbs to find those assets. And now people don't get mail, right? So
Right.
everything's digital. So if they don't have passwords to your computer,
Hmm.
they don't have access to that information. So just be organized,
Yeah.
get it all somewhere in writing or keep all the statements in a fireproof safe or
Yeah.
some way where somebody could just go and go, okay, this is what we're dealing with.
Right.
Save them hours and hours and hours of time.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I always harp on people to get their advanced directives done, even if you're young and healthy. Like if nothing else, a living will, right? Because you want your wishes known, especially if your family might disagree or if you don't have family or, whatever that may be. So you're not just hooked up to machines if that's not what you want for a period of time. But more critical than that, like you can fill it out, but if it's sitting in a drawer at home, it's not going to do anybody any good, right? You have to tell people that you have them, give them copies,
Right.
tell people where to find them. Yeah, I have a folder that's called the "Oh shoot, Nikki died" folder that's
I
clearly
love
labeled and it has the S word on it. And I've told everybody where my niece, my nephew, my husband, my closest friends, my parents, everybody knows where this folder is. I'm like, you go there. It
that.
has
Right.
everything in it.
Oh my gosh, that is brilliant.
Yeah. I have been seeing, and I appreciate that it seems like we're starting to steer back into a more death aware society, which makes me happy because we're all gonna die. Sorry, everybody. Spoiler alert. But I'm seeing all sorts of great tools out there, like just little books you can fill out. And some of them are even being cute with silly phrases like that. Like I have one called "I'm dead now what?" or,
Yeah.
"Oh crap, I died," things like that. So you can just, if nothing else, have one place where you can fill out some basic things, like you said, account numbers and all that. So yeah.
Yeah, they have these things for seniors where they fill them out, all their, medications and
Yeah.
doctors and stuff like that, and they put it on the fridge. So
Yeah.
if firefighter comes
Hmm.
or police come, they just grab that thing off the
Yep.
wall and they know who to call.
Yeah.
So that's like a great preventative thing,
Hmm.
but you have to do the same thing with
Right.
your assets,
Right.
unfortunately.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. It's good to know the health related things like the medications and the allergies and all those things, which I have a road ID, which is on my Fitbit band. And
Hmm,
I don't know if anybody has seen these or I've talked about my podcast before. It's called Road ID. And you get a little bracelet or something you can wear. It's got your name and your birth date or like your birth year at least. And there's a pin and a passcode or a phone number and a pin. And anybody who finds you, it says, please call this number. You give them the pin on the back and they have my medical records. They have my emergency contact information, my living will, all of that is right there. So
really?
always
Well
recommend
said.
those.
I know.
Yeah, I'll put that in the show notes, sure.
Yeah.
Everybody should have something like that. Anyway, getting in the
Yeah.
weeds again. So,
Right.
if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about losing your father so young and what that was like for you, your family, your mom, and all that, trying to navigate losing him so young.
It's interesting. So this was the 70s, right? 1975. It's not like it is today.
Yeah.
So my parents were separated at the time. So we lived in another house and he died in a fire. And I came down the stairs. We were going to the dentist that day, so we were going to miss school. And my mom said, I have something to tell you. Your dad died and so on. And it was on the news.
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
so we were like watching TV and it was on the news. It was very
Oh.
strange. But back then, I'm Jewish, so we did Shiva
Mhm.
and we went right back to school. Like nothing ever happened. We didn't talk about it. We didn't go to therapy. There was just none of that back then. I think there was probably solutions, but my mom was sort of a hippie, so she took us to TM meditation. So we learned how to meditate, which served me well as an adult. Thank you, Mom. But didn't really address the loss of a father. So that
Right.
was, unfortunate. But it was weird. Like, I don't remember being sad. I don't remember, experiencing any of this You okay?
Yeah, I just heard something outside. Sorry. Our neighbors are doing construction, of course, today. So
Of
sorry.
course,
Go ahead.
we can hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, at 10 years old, you don't process grief, I think, the same way as you would as an adult. It just, it's really a very different experience. That's all I'll
Hmm.
say.
Yeah.
So we just sort of went on with life, but it affects you the rest of your life, right? In
Yeah.
ways that you
Yeah.
don't realize.
Yeah.
You have a lot of unresolved things that you can't address because they died,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So I found my sadness later, don't worry.
Right. Right. So
But I
then,
definitely didn't at 10.
yeah. Well, and so you lost your father when you were 10, and then you had told me, in the email ahead of time that you lost a friend when you were only 16 to suicide.
Yes.
Oh.
So that I felt that grief
Hmm.
heavy. So the crazy thing about that death was that, we were 16. He introduced me to his family that night. We went out to dinner with them. And then he asked me if I wanted to come in and talk. So a 16-year-old boy, do you want to come in and talk? Would never say that. But I was
Right.
16 and I was going to Florida the next day. Had to go
Yeah.
home, had to pack, had to say no. And while I was
Oh,
in Florida, somebody called and told me that he hung himself.
oh my gosh.
And that was the most emotional, horrible, tragic thing I've ever felt.
Yeah.
It was just so heavy. It was mind-boggling to me. He seemed happy. He seemed like a happy kid. Looking
Yeah.
back as an adult, I can see there were things not great in his life. But
Sure.
at the time, and then I feel, a little guilt because I should have gone in that night. Maybe,
Mhm.
who knows? But yeah, that one was heavy. And I
Yeah.
grieved for a long time on that. And the same kind of thing, you're just sort of in a fog. You're in your sort of own isolated
Hmm.
world dealing with your grief. And, it's hard to do anything, let alone
Yeah.
paperwork. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was maybe 18, I think, and I had lost a friend who lived down the road to suicide as well. And when I think back to that, because at the time I remember it never it like I understood what happened, right? And I was obviously sad that this had happened. And her parents were devastated, obviously. But it didn't really sink in. I didn't really feel the grief for that for like, I don't know, 6 months or a year later. And then I had the thought of, oh my gosh, I have to call. Oh, wait. And it just really hit me that I'm never going to see her again because this happened. And yeah, it was just one of those, I don't know. I'm real slow with my grief. I've been open about that with my brother. I didn't deal with the loss of my brother for a long time. That was more out of just, I felt the need to take care of other people, but it's like it takes a while for it to really sink in, like, okay, yeah, anyway.
This is real. Every
Yeah.
grief is completely unique to the next grief.
Right.
Every age is a different experience. Every relationship is a different experience. The kind of
Exactly.
death is a different experience.
Yeah.
All of it is unique. And it's
Yeah.
very easy for somebody to say, why don't you just get over it? It's been 6 months, or, all those things that people say. But I mean, you lose a dog, you're going to be sad for six
Yeah.
months. You know what
Oh
I
my
mean?
gosh. I'm still not over my cat, and that was
Yeah,
like 4 years ago at this point. Like,
right, right.
yeah. And thank you for saying that. Every loss is going to be different, right? My cat that I just referenced, I've talked about her on the show too. I lost her in 2019. She was almost 20 years old. So I had her for a long time. That
Nice.
one hit immediately. That one was
Yeah,
real hard too.
yeah.
Um, so and then fast forward a bit because you touched on this briefly too. You lost a daughter who was stillborn. And I have no children of my own. I cannot possibly fathom what that is like to lose a
That
child.
was, I mean, imagine preparing your life for your first kid,
Hmm.
and everything you do is related to what are we going to do when this baby comes home?
Yeah. Yeah.
You buy stuff, you prepare a room, you prepare your life, you put your job. You're mentally going to become a mom. And
Right.
then the cords around her neck, it's over.
Yeah.
And I go to deliver her, no heartbeat.
Oh,
It's like you can't even imagine. And then all my friends are pregnant. So we go to the funeral with all my pregnant friends who are just as wrecked as I am, because you can only imagine
Right.
how they must be feeling in that moment. Could have been them.
Yeah.
So 30 years ago,
Yeah.
still can bring me to tears.
Yeah. That's that. Yeah. I have no words. And obviously there's nothing I or anybody in this world that can ever say that can make that not awful.
Yeah,
Just like you said, it's not just the loss of her, but the ideals you had, the whole world that you had begun to craft specifically for her.
right.
Right.
It's sort of like, what am I going to do now?
Right.
Don't have a job.
Yeah.
I'm so sad. I don't have any plans.
Yeah.
She was my plan.
Hmm.
So it's really, it's just so unique, every single grief that you
Yeah.
have,
Right.
so you're never prepared for the next one,
No.
right?
No, not at
Just
all.
like, oh, okay, this one, I'm gonna just stay home. This is what I did with her. I Somebody gave me a dog 6 months before
Oh,
she died. And I was like, I don't want a dog. I'm having a baby. I don't want the responsibility. And
right.
for whatever reason, I took the dog. This dog saved me. We
Oh.
walked every day. My goals were to take a shower,
Hmm.
walk the dog, and do this artist way journal, like where
Yeah.
it was like this book and just like write in this journal. Those are my only goals for the day for a year. I
Yeah.
tried to work. I cried too much at the job and I had to quit.
Oh.
Just didn't work out so well.
Oh.
But I really gave myself the space. And I just
Yeah.
said, you know what? This is what I got to do right now.
Yeah.
I'm just not able to work. I'm just
Right.
not. And I'm a Capricorn, so I'm a hard worker. So for me to not work for a whole year, I have to really talk myself into that.
Yeah.
So, but I did. I gave myself the grace, and I'm kind of proud of my 33-year-old self for doing that.
Yeah. Well, and good for you because so many people try to just hide that or push it down and think I'm just going to go back into everything full force and the grief will figure itself out. And that's not how that works.
Not how that works.
It's, I've used the metaphor a few times. It's like being in a swimming pool with a beach ball and you try to push it under the water and hold it there. And you can for a little bit, but eventually it's going to pop up and smack you in the face.
Yeah,
And
I
then you're
love
going to have the beach ball above the water and a bloody nose. So
that. Right. It might be worse.
right, right. So I'm so glad to hear that you were able to uh, take the time to work through your grief before you tried to, you know, go back to work or whatever it is you needed to do.
Yeah.
So
It's funny
absolutely.
how it can come back 30 years later. I mean, I don't sit and think about it all day.
Oh yeah,
It's just this thing that lives in me. And
yeah,
every once in a while, it just pops out. Here
yeah.
we are. Thought I was done with that. Guess not.
Yeah. And that's one thing I talk about on the show a lot, but also with my clients, my grief clients I work with is the everybody comes to me or goes into a new grief with this expectation of one day everything will be back to normal and I'll be quote unquote over it. And
Yeah.
I feel terrible to have to be the one to tell them like you're not this isn't ever going to go away. You don't
Yeah.
get over these losses. And your, prime example is 30 some years later, however long later, it's still affecting you,
Yeah.
right? But you're able, you're in a different place now. It's still there, but it's not necessarily as painful as it was in the
Yeah.
beginning. Is that fair to say?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I couldn't even say it is still painful. But
Oh,
when I think
sure.
about the funeral and my friends and all those
Oh
things,
my gosh.
it could, like, one of my friends recently brought this up. So maybe that's why it's so close to the surface right now,
Yeah.
and just how wrecked she was at the time. And, so yeah, I can just come back up and bring
Yeah,
it right back to you.
absolutely. But I always say grief is love, So it
Yeah.
just shows how much you loved her. Oh,
Yeah. I love
oh,
that. You
yeah.
can't have grief if you don't have love,
Yeah.
or you can't
Amazing.
have love if you don't have love. Something like that.
Yeah, it's
It's
true. If you
good.
didn't love something, you wouldn't grieve it when it was gone. So we have a little bit more time left. I want to hear, I love asking these type of questions. So if you're willing to share, what
Okay.
is the most either interesting, memorable, weirdest, funnest story you have of somebody, either yourself or somebody in your business you've worked with something that has happened after somebody has died? Like, do you have anything that sticks out in your brain as like this, oh my God, you'll never believe this story?
Um, I don't have anything specifically like that, but we did this one. estate where this gentleman had a house full of sports memorabilia
Oh
and
God.
police badges and patches and die-cast cars. I mean, the entire house was filled with collectible stuff. So our job was to go in and get it all sold,
Oh
right?
God.
And we, oh my God, we moved it all to a warehouse. We organized it into, Detroit Lions, Tiger baseball, police stuff. And
Yeah.
we just did these pop-up sales and we went to police shows and met a ton of police officers who, by the way, are big collectors. That was a fun surprise. I
Yeah.
never thought about police officers being so excited about going to state sales, but they love them.
Yeah.
Legit. And
Good to know.
met some really cool people, and it was a really fun job. It honestly
Oh,
took us 6 months to liquidate this estate. 6 months.
that's a long
And
time.
it was great. It was just great. I mean, the people we met and the learning that took place, because you can imagine I don't know anything about police badges. So you sort
Right.
of have to, you find your person and they teach you and they introduce you to the next person. And we sold these, he had these ambulances from 1968. They were Cadillac, like Ghostbusters ambulances. And, just the people we met, I made some friends, and, so everyone, you meet people and
Yeah.
everybody's so interesting. A lot of hoarder people out there, a
Oh,
lot
I have no
of
doubt.
people collecting stuff. And I have some friends that I sort of see them on that path and I
Hmm.
yell at them. I'm like, you need to start throwing
Yeah.
things away if you're going to buy anything else. You just have to. I'm
Yeah.
just going to be on you about this because it's really hard on your family when you leave that mess for them.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I after having helped my parents last summer downsizing, and there was so much that they just moved because they ran out of time and they had to be out of the house, and they're still downsizing, they're still purging now. And experiencing that, I has really spurred me to really go through my own stuff. I'm only 47. I'm still young. And we're probably not moving anytime soon, but oh my God, I like went on a rampage this past summer and I've cleaned out so much stuff. So
Yeah. And
Swedish
everybody
death cleaning,
thinks,
right?
yeah, and everybody thinks their stuff is worth so much, particularly art in China.
Yeah.
I don't know. My grandma's China. It's, 80 years old. Yes, but nobody
Yeah.
wants it.
Yeah, and
Nobody's
that's
buying
my
it.
mom has her grandmother and great all this china, and even she's like, I know nobody wants it. I know I can't sell it. I know it's just going to sit in the basement in a box, and I'm sorry, it's going to have to be your problem, but I can't get rid of it. And I said, that's
Right.
fine. I will take that on. And I'm glad you mentioned art too, because arts are that taste changes wildly year to year, right? And like this thing behind me is from Target, so no, that's not worth crap. Like most of the art in the household are things that I have made or I bought from local artists, so it's probably not worth anything, and that's fine. It makes me happy,
Makes you
but
happy. That's why you buy art,
yeah,
right?
because it
So I was
makes me
talking to
happy.
somebody yesterday, their parents spent $250,000 on their art. They were so excited about their art. And when they died, this family sold it and they got $25,000 for it.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
not worth what you think, unless it's some
yeah.
sort of Picasso or some Van
Right.
Gogh or, something very unique. You're
Yeah.
not, you're never going
There's
to get money back.
I hear so much about certain things like, well, it's an investment. And that is true in that it might be worth something, it might be worth nothing. And
Yeah.
I think when people hear something is an investment, that automatically means they're going to make money out of it. An
Right.
investment doesn't always mean make money. Sometimes it means lose money. So
So
remember
it's
that,
like a
everybody.
stock.
Yeah, right.
Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down.
So yeah, you might buy an art piece at a yard sale for 20 bucks and find out it's from this famous artist and it's worth $50,000. Cool. You might also spend $50,000 on an art piece, and when you pass away, somebody sells it and they get $200 for it.
Right. That's a fact.
So please remember. Okay. So let me think. I had another question and it's gone. I lost it. That's okay. Um, so before we wrap up, before we get to the last little bit of the show, what I kind of already asked like the most important thing. Well, what one piece of advice would you give somebody who isn't approaching end of life, who might be young and healthy, but like what's your one piece of advice you would give to anybody about preparing for their end of life? even if they're not thinking about it yet.
Yeah. Everybody thinks they're going to live forever, and many people don't.
Yeah.
In fact, none of us do.
So far,
So
nobody has.
far. Although, some people live, way beyond 100 now, so we
Yeah.
don't know. But even moving yourself, you don't want to be moving yourself to a new house and bringing all your old stuff.
Yeah.
It just doesn't really serve you.
Yeah.
So just getting organized, really asking yourself, do I need this book? Do I need this
Yeah.
paper? Do I need the kids' pictures that they painted in kindergarten? You don't. Okay. I've done this myself. It's
Mm-hmm.
very hard to throw this stuff away because
Yeah.
it's so cute.
Yeah, I
But guess
know.
what? Nobody else wants it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you leave it to somebody else, it's going to cost your family a lot of money to
Mm-hmm.
pay somebody else to go through your stuff.
Yep.
I mean, it's not cheap to clean out a house. We
Right.
have people who do clean outs. It's not cheap
No.
because they have to go through every single thing in your house
Yep.
and throw it away. So
Yeah.
just get rid of your stuff that you're
That's
not
it.
using. Simplify. It's freedom.
I know it is. It feels so good. Like I still have more I can do at any point. I have a
Yeah.
couple things I haven't let go of. I have a baby blanket. I keep carrying my baby blanket.
Oh,
It's
that's
chewed up.
worth
It's trash at this point, but it's mine. I will
Yeah.
keep it, burn it when
Yeah.
I'm gone. I don't care. I've got two stuffed animals behind me that my mom made when I was a baby. They're right
Oh.
there. That's
And
like
those
the,
things are worthy, right? While you're
oh
alive.
yeah. Oh yeah. And
Sure.
they're not taking up much space. They're fine.
Yeah.
So, anyway, all right. Well, I have a tradition at the end of my episodes where I pull a random card from the death deck. So, this deck of cards with random questions around death and dying. And
Hmm.
I will have you answer it, and then fair's fair, I will answer it too.
Okay.
So, let's see what we have here. I like this because I'm hungry right now. Given a chance to choose your very last meal, what would you indulge in?
Ooh.
I'm about ready for my lunch. So, this is hitting me good. I'm hungry.
Okay, this is going to sound really weird, but my favorite food in the world is butter. I absolutely love butter and
Oh,
ice cream. So
no
I would
judgment here.
melt
Butter's
butter.
fantastic.
I would get some lobster. I would dunk it in the butter, and then
Yeah.
I would have a big giant ice cream with sprinkles and Reese's and just deliciousness.
Oh, that sounds amazing. I don't know what I just like to eat. There's so many foods I've avoided in my life because they make me a little bit sick. But if I knew it was going to be my last meal,
Right, then who cares?
right, I would probably get a giant plate of buffalo wings because I love buffalo wings, but man, I just can't eat them because they make me sick.
Right.
So I
Do you
would
have a place
probably,
you get them from?
yeah, so I don't know. Most places, so I actually am allergic to seafood, and most places that serve like bu buffalo wings or fried wings, they fry them in the same fryers with the shrimp, so I can't eat them. So I usually just get frozen, or there's like
Yeah.
one or two restaurants I know are safe, and that's it. So heck, I'd go to the nearest sports bar because they always have the best wings,
Yes,
right?
yeah. That's a
Mm,
good last meal.
yeah, right. Because I wouldn't have to worry about having anaphylactic shock, I guess.
Right. So you should start testing out buffalo wings around town. Put it in your living will.
Right? This is what I want for my fun. Anyway, that was fun. Oh my gosh. Karen, thank you so much for taking the time today to tell us about what you do. I'm going to give you a moment here. Tell us all about Heirloom Consulting, where people can find you, and any other great information.
So Heirloom Consulting is on the web at heirloomconsultants.com. And heirloom is like a tomato or a family heirloom, which is where the name came from, obviously.
Love it.
We are on Facebook or on LinkedIn and Instagram. Yeah, I mean, you can find us anywhere on the web. It's pretty easy to find us.
Awesome. And I'll put links down below too, or in the description. So if you're listening, that's where it is.
Thanks so much for having me. It's so
Yeah.
nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too. All right. Well, you have a great rest of your day. Stay with me here. And all right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, another huge shout out and thank you to Karen for coming on my show. And I have to giggle at how many takes it took me to say her name correctly when we were recording our interview. And then again, when I was recording the intro for this. So I apologize, Karen. I don't know why. I'm blaming menopause for everything these days, but Anyway, thank you so much for being on my show. Please go check out my information. It will be in the show notes, as well as information on where you can find me, where you can get some great merch for this podcast. You can, again, if you go to patreon.com/Nikki the Death Doula and you support me at $10 a month or above, you can get this journal included in that, or you can just go buy this. You can buy this. There's links in the description for my merch. I've got journals, stickers, t-shirts. There's one, but I have my plant sitting in front of it. That was dumb. Now you can't see it. A t-shirt back there too. It comes in a bunch of different colors, so please go check that out. You can find links to that in the description. You can find me on Substack as well, or at nikkithedeathdoula.com. It's a great place to find everything that you need for me. Information on the podcast is on my website as well. If you have a story you'd like to share with my listeners, please feel free to reach out to me. I love hearing people's stories. I love them to share them with my listeners, so somebody out there might feel a little less alone in their grief. But that is all. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. And remember, as always, your grief is yours, your feelings are valid, and grief doesn't always have to suck. Good Grief with Nikki the Death Doula is produced by Nikki Smith of Nikki the Death Doula LLC in Columbus, Ohio. Nikki the Death Doula LLC is for consulting, education, emotional support, and guidance, and is no way considered a funeral establishment or licensed mental health establishment. Scripts, editing, sound design, literally everything with this podcast is done solely by Nikki Smith of Nikki the Death Doula LLC, with the exception of the music. The music is Cheery Monday by Kevin MacLeod. Licensing information can be found at filmmusic.io.